Welcome to Books and Coffee Chat, the podcast where we dive into the stories you love, the characters you can't stop thinking about, and the plot twists that leave you speechless. Every week, grab your coffee and join us for real, fun, and spoiler-free conversations about books that everyone's talking about. Let's get started.
What happens when paths cross again? When two people really shaped by everything they've been through find themselves looking at each other after time apart. Is it just chance? Or is there something deeper, like an echo of their shared history pulling them back?
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into Ella Siempre Comienza, the Colleen Hoover book that follows up on Lily and Atlas. You sent us some fantastic excerpts, really powerful stuff, character moments, internal thoughts, even notes from the author. So our mission here is to kind of unpack all that, pull out the key insights about how these characters deal with their past, their history, and try to build something new. Think of this as your quick guide to the heart of the story.
Exactly. And it's all about digging into how they handle that baggage, right? The past, traumas, abuse, abandonment, it all feeds into who they are now. How does that history shape their choices, their ability to even hope for a fresh start?
It's fascinating because Hoover apparently wanted this to be a bit lighter for the fans.
Lighter, yeah.
But it still goes deep into that heavy emotional stuff, directly confronting those historical burdens they both carry.
And the story behind the story is pretty interesting, too. The source material mentions how this whole book basically happened because of #BookTalk.
Oh yeah, that whole phenomenon.
Right. That online buzz literally changed the course of this narrative's history, pushed the author to write this sequel. It's kind of wild how fan energy can do that. So, okay, let's start with that reunion. A year and a half passes, and boom, Lily and Atlas see each other. It sounds like it hits them both instantly, but maybe differently. What's going on with Lily in that first moment?
Well, yeah, it's really striking. Lily feels totally unprepared, she describes herself as this single mom, exhausted and drained after a rough morning with the baby. It kind of sums up her whole life right then. She's juggling so much, and, her history with Ryle means she's got her guard up.
Right.
But Atlas, he's just all in, immediately enthusiastic, like he's been waiting. It really speaks to that consistency in his character, that long-standing history of his feelings for her.
And her life, managing the flower shop, Lily Blooms, being a single mom, that history with Ryle is still casting a long shadow, isn't it? How does he fit into the picture now?
Oh, he's definitely still around. The sources make that clear. Even though they're divorced, he's still pushing for reconciliation sometimes, little manipulations, unwanted flirting. She even notes the occasional gaslighting.
Oh, gaslighting.
Exactly. That psychological stuff to make her doubt herself. So her journal, those letters to Ellen, they become super important. It's her space to process it all, to remind herself of their shared difficult history and why she needs to maintain those boundaries she fought so hard for. It's like reinforcing her own past decisions.
Okay, so Lily's dealing with that. Meanwhile, Atlas seems like he's doing okay, professionally at least. Chef, owns Bibs, built this new place, Corgan's from scratch. But then the croutons.
Yeah, the crouton bandit.
It sounds almost funny, but what is that about? Someone breaking into both restaurants, stealing only croutons, leaving notes like, "At Lasno."
It does sound absurd on the surface, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But it connects so deeply to Atlas's own history. His reaction tells you everything. He's not mad. He's hesitant to even call the cops. Because he gets it. He literally says, I invaded a restaurant once, stole a turkey sandwich. He knows that kind of desperation, that hunger from his own past. So this vandalism, it clicks for him through the lens of his own history of homelessness and neglect. It triggers empathy, not anger. The camera at Bibbs is broken, but the one at Corgan's catches a glimpse of a young kid, maybe a teen. It's a clue pointing right back to his own story.
Wow. Okay. So even as they're trying to figure out this new them, their individual histories are just right there. Lily wanting to go slow, Atlas being all in.
Yeah.
How does this baggage, this history show up in those early days of reconnecting?
It's everywhere, really. You feel that immediate pull between them, right? That connection started when they were kids. That's deep history. But then there are the current realities. Like Alice brings her lunch, a simple thing, but it continues that pattern, that history of him caring for her.
Yeah.
And then that scene where she shoves him in the closet.
Right. Ryle just shows up unexpectedly at the shop.
Exactly. It's kind of funny, but it screams volumes about the fears she still lives with, a direct result of her history with Ryle. It shows this isn't just, a simple getting back together story. They're trying to build something new on top of really complicated foundations, always aware of the shadows from their pasts.
That fear feels so real, and it seems like things really heat up with Ryle again, bringing that past trauma right back to the surface. He finds out she spent the night with someone.
Yeah, and he reacts badly. He pushes her against a door. It's not, the worst of what he's done, but it's that physical aggression again, an echo of their history.
So what does Lily do, given everything she's been through with him?
She doesn't brush it off. This is where you see her strength, her learning from history. She decides right then to formally document it, the threats, the push for her lawyer. She recognizes the pattern. It's a direct response based on her history with him. She knows she has to protect herself and Emmy.
And speaking of Emmy, the middle name, Dory.
Oh, man. Yeah, that hits Ryle hard. Because Dory from Finding Nemo, that's their thing, Lily and Alice's. It has huge significance tied to their shared past.
A little piece of their history tucked into her daughter's name.
Exactly. It's like this subtle thread connecting Atlas to her present. And Ryle picks up on it. It just fuels his jealousy, shows how insecure he still is about her history and her emotional connections.
And then, just as Lily's dealing with Ryle stuff, Atlas gets hit with this massive bomb from his own past. His mother calls.
Yeah, after years of silence. And it's not to apologize or reconnect. It's to tell him he has an 11-year-old brother, Josh, who's run away.
Oh my God.
Atlas is floored, and his mind immediately goes back to his own traumatic history, being homeless, neglected. He says something like his memory is mostly just moments of being alone, trying not to bother his mom. That personal history makes his reaction to Josh's situation instant, deep empathy.
And then the penny drops.
Right. The immediate, chilling realization. Josh, this missing brother he never knew, he's the crouton bandit. He's acting out, desperate, crying for attention, just like Atlas understands from his own history. And his mother, Sutton, she proves she hasn't changed. More worried about getting in trouble than finding Josh, calling Atlas names. It just highlights that cycle of neglect, that painful family history.
It connects back to that letter Atlas wrote Lily, doesn't it? About how she saved him back then, saw worth in him when he felt like nothing because of that history.
Exactly. That letter explains why he feels such compassion for Josh. He's seeing himself, his own history, reflected in this kid.
So they're both dealing with these huge crises rooted in their past. Lily with Ryle, Atlas with this whole Josh situation. How do they support each other through that? Does their shared history help them connect on this level?
It absolutely does. Their shared understanding of difficult past is crucial. Lily reads Atlas's letter about his history, how she was his lifeline. That creates this deep bond. It's not just sympathy, it's recognition.
Yeah.
And Atlas sees Lily struggling with Ryle, and he doesn't just stand by. He offers support, advice, he even confronts Ryle directly.
That confrontation at the restaurant, right? It gets physical.
Yeah, Ryle punches Atlas.
Yeah.
But Atlas's reaction is key. He stays composed. After getting hit, he actually gives Ryle advice, tells him calmly that Lily left because of Ryle's actions, his history of behavior, not because of Atlas.
That's a huge shift from how he might have reacted years ago based on his own history with confrontation, like with Lily's stepfather.
Totally. His own painful history has taught him something. He responds with measured words, not just impulsive anger. It shows real growth, learning from that past.
Okay, so they're navigating all this baggage, but then they start actively building something new, right? Making choices that seem to directly push back against those difficult histories. Atlas steps up for Josh immediately.
He really does. It's incredible. Finds him, brings him home, feeds him, and decides right away he's going for legal guardianship. He wants to break that cycle of neglect from his own history. We see those tough moments with their mother, Sutton, who even hits Josh, which just hardens Atlas's resolve. He's creating a different history for Josh. And you see the results. Josh starts school, joins baseball. He starts to, actually thrive. It's a new beginning, a deliberate rewriting of that family history.
And Lily's role in that. How does she connect with Josh? Does her own history of needing support make her naturally nurturing?
Beautifully, yeah. There's this instant warmth between Lily and Josh. She cooks for him, offers comfort. It mirrors how Atlas supported her back in the day, drawing on her own history of empathy. Josh is wary at first, understandably, given his history.
Of course.
But he slowly opens up to her, talks about manga, baseball. Lily becomes this stable, caring presence. And eventually, Josh makes that huge decision himself to cut ties with his biological parents after seeing more neglect. He chooses his new family, chooses to break from his past history.
That's powerful. And this leads to a huge step for Lily and Atlas together, moving in.
Yes, Lily and Emmy move in with Atlas and Josh. They create this blended, chosen family. It's not just romantic, it's this conscious act of building a new shared history.
And they talk about the future. The sources mentioned a timeline.
Yeah, they have these conversations, figuring out the practicalities, but also the emotional side. There's this kind of sweet, funny bit about timelines, like live together for 6 months at least, then maybe marriage in 1 year, 1.5 years.
That sounds very them, grounded.
Exactly. It's realistic. It acknowledges their pasts, their histories, meaning they need to build this carefully, intentionally. It's a second chance built on understanding that history, not ignoring it.
And Atlas's wedding vows, you mentioned those were in the source material. They sound like they really capture everything.
Oh, there's something else. Really profound. He basically says, if divorce is in the cards for us, statistically, then you're the one I want to go through that with.
Wow, that's not your typical vow.
Right. It's not promising perfection. It's promising partnership through the inevitable messiness of life, acknowledging the risks, but valuing the love itself. It feels like something only someone with his history, who truly understands loss and the value of connection, could write. And then he weaves in all the Finding Nemo stuff.
The Dory connection again. My little fish.
My little fish, my mermaid, the Pichincha postscript. It ties their entire history, from childhood struggles to just keep swimming, right into their future commitment. It shows how understanding and embracing your history, even the painful parts, can make a relationship stronger.
So in the end, it's about transformation, isn't it? Josh finding stability, Lily and Atlas building this family based on honesty, support, and really seeing each other's histories. It's about resilience and how love can rewrite the ending, create a new history.
Absolutely. It redefines family not by blood, but by choice, by intentionally building connection despite the weight of the past.
Which leaves us with a question, maybe for you listening. When that history, those past hurts, feel like they could just crush you, what does it actually take? What kind of courage is needed to not just survive, but to actively choose vulnerability, build trust, and create the family, the future, the history you truly want?
It's about looking that history in the eye, isn't it? Recognizing how it shaped you, but not letting it be the only thing that defines you. And realizing that choosing connection, even when it's complicated by all that history, can lead to the most meaningful kind of new beginning.
And that's a wrap for today's Books and Coffee Chat. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this episode with your fellow book lovers. Got a book suggestion or a hot take? Drop it in the comments. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. See you next time, and don't forget, keep reading and keep